I see you're streaming live, Jeremiah. Will we be starting with this prayer today?
Yeah, I was thinking we could do that.
All right.
Oh my God, thou seest me in my lowliness and weakness, occupied with the greatest undertaking, determined to raise thy word among the masses and to spread thy teachings among thy peoples. How can I succeed unless thou assist me with the breath of the Holy Spirit? Help me to triumph by the hosts of thy glorious kingdom, and shower upon me thy confirmations, which alone can change a gnat into an eagle, a drop of water into rivers and seas, and an atom into lights and suns. O my Lord, assist me with thy triumphant and effective might, so that my tongue may utter thy praises and attributes among all people, and my soul overflow with the wine of thy love and knowledge. Thou art the omnipotent and the doer of whatsoever thou willest.
Thank you.
All right. Welcome, everyone who's just joining us. Welcome, welcome. We are going to continue on this second part 2 of the Kitab-i-Aqdas, the Most Holy Book. Baha'u'llah's Book of Laws, written in Arabic around 1873, while still imprisoned within the city of Akka. This book was later supplemented by later writings and by Baha'u'llah's replies to a series of questions posed by one of his secretaries. The first authorized English translation was published in the year 1992, annotated and accompanied by supplementary writings and the questions and answers section. We invite you to visit this book online. There's 2 places I can recommend you. First is reference.baha'i.org, a website you can go to right now. And another website you can go to right now, it's oceanlibrary.com. Oceanlibrary.com is the access point on the browser for Ocean 2.0's vast library. And further, if you want to download the application, you can find that on the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. And you can make your own account to load where you are in your book, and you can save, you can cut and paste excerpts. It automatically processes everything for you. Defining words, the word definition capability, it's very useful when you're reading and you don't recognize a certain word that you come across. With that being said, there's a lot of places you can go to find the Kitab-i-Aqdas at your local bookstore. They may have an online portal to access it, but you can always access, without a doubt, the Baha'i Trust. There's a national bookstore you can access online. I'm sorry, I'm failing to pull up the website's name. If Jeremiah can remind me, maybe. But with that said, I'm going to introduce our speakers once more. I've gave an introduction last session. I'm not going to give as a far an introduction at the moment, given that we're going to get straight to the content. But just to introduce you all, for those of you who are joining, we welcome you to go to clearwaterbaha'is.org or to the YouTube channel for Clearwater Baha'is to see the previous video. And that is the part 1 video. And we had some other studies together with Mr. and Mrs. Faris, Mr. Faris and Ms. Mohandesi Faris. So now to give the introduction, Mr. Faris works as an executive consultant, supporting the private and public sectors, including the federal, state, and local governments and technology management. He's published various articles and a lot of various studies and papers relating to the faith and comparative religions. He's focused on several of the Baha'i books that you are now seeing, one of them, the Kitab-i-Aqdas, and he's also had a focus on the Islam and Islamic domains, the Irfan Colloquium. There's so much to look at in terms of the studies, commentaries, notes, and study sessions cumulatively that he's participated in with Ms. Azadeh Mohandesi Faris. To introduce her, she works also as an executive consultant supporting the private and public sectors, including the federal, state, and local governments in technology management. In her public sector career, Azadeh managed the implementation of major federal programs for the state of California. Azadeh, with her husband Nabil, have authored and published several papers relating to the Baha'i faith. And as I had mentioned about Mr. Faris, likewise, she's focused on the Islamic domains, the Irfan Colloquium. She was contributor for Bosch, Santa Cruz, and New Helen, Flint, Baha'i schools. And they've collectively worked on various books, commentary, notes, and study sessions. Kitab-i-Aqdas, this being one of them. The Gems of Divine Mysteries, another work from Baha'u'llah, that is. The Kitab-i-Aqdas, a very important work from Baha'u'llah that establishes the theological basis for the Baha'i message. There's the Ministry of the Bab. There's the Advent of Divine Justice, written by Shoghi Effendi. There's the Will and Testament of Baha'u'llah, the Kitab-i-Ad, and there's also the Will and Testament of Abdul Baha. There's so many subjects to discuss and to look outside of what we're talking about now. We welcome you to definitely research one of these future study sessions and to stay in touch. With that being said, we welcome you again, Mr. Faris, Mrs. Muhandisi Faris. Thank you for being here. We're so happy to also announce to everybody we have another week coming, the week of the September 25th weekend. We're going to continue this course beyond our original defined scope. So we appreciate all of your interest, and we look forward to all of your input, your participation, and more importantly, your questions. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John. Good morning, all. Or I think it's still good morning everywhere. I think so, but thank you for having us here, and thank you for being with us. It's a nice journey which we started last Sunday, and it's beautiful interaction, and we had some great dialogues last Sunday, and we will continue having these dialogues till the end of the month as we go through Kitab-i-Aqdas. Last time we had an overall overview about what the Aqdas is covering in terms of justice, government, law, liberty, belief, learning, family, what the Aqdas said about advancement of civilization, and the impact of Kitab-i-Aqdas on the greater Baha'i community. And we cover this overview of this most holy book, and now we are going to commence the study of the Kitab-i-Aqdas itself. But before I do this, I just want to put back again a refresher that maybe Azadeh can take us through. We talked about this last time, but as a refresher, maybe Azadeh, you can tell us a little bit more again about this.
Of course, my pleasure. Good morning, everyone. We just touched upon these simple definitions of what's in the writings of Baha'u'llah and the Baha'i faith, which are prayers, the ones that we talk to God and usually ask for his aid and assistance. The tablets, which are when God talks to us and answers us. Surah, chapter, which are translated into tablet. It's the revelation of Baha'u'llah that addresses issues that were not questions, and like the Surah Ghos, and the term Surah is used for chapters of the Quran, as you all, I'm sure, know. Kitab, which means book, a weighty book answering some of the questions put to him, and the epistle, such as the epistle of to the son of the wolf, which is a statement that Baha'u'llah has made.
Thank you. I just want to go to the top two, prayers and tablets. This is actually important. What we mean by prayers here, we don't mean the obligatory prayers. We mean the supplication that we do, reading the daily prayers and this wonderful reading. So the prayers, really, we are praying, supplicating God, and the tablet actually, it's God answering us. If you will take this outside of the prayer and the tablets, when we sit thinking, our heart is open, and we are in the presence of God, so to speak, meditation is the tablets, because this is the time that God responds to us. So it's important to pray and then wait to hear what the answer is coming to us, what's the guidance coming to us. Just want to refresh your memory about this. Now in Surah Haykal, which is Surah of the Temple or Tablet of the Temple, Baha'u'llah said, we revealed our verses in 9 different modes. And this is the book that we had about maybe 10 years ago, Lord of the Hosts. And this is chapter 1, paragraph 51. So do you know what are these 9 different modes that Baha'u'llah talked to us about? Baha'u'llah never documented it really. Can we try?
Can you clarify the question one more time, if you don't mind?
Sure. So at the top here, John, in Surah Haykal, chapter 1, the first surah in the book, in paragraph 51, Baha'u'llah said, we have revealed our verses in 9 different modes. And he continues saying, each one of them bespeaks the sovereignty of God, the helping pearl, the self-subsisting. A single one of them sufficeth for a proof unto all who are in the heavens and on the earth. Yet the people, for the most part, persist in their heedlessness. Should it be our wish, we would reveal them in countless other modes. So I was wondering, do we know what are the 9 different modes? Okay, Beth, you have a thought?
Well, through his manifestation.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, good start.
I can't come up with 9, I'm sure.
No, that's good. 1 is good.
Okay, thank you, because I can't think.
Okay, let me share with you. One of the scholars took upon himself, and this is right after the time of Baha'u'llah, and he came up with the 9 different styles. And he said that the styles, tablets with the tone of command and authority, like the Aqdas. Tablets with the tone of servitude, meekness, like what you have in the prayers and meditations. Writings dealing with interpretation of the old scriptures, like the Iqan. Writings which laws and ordinance have been enjoined, like the Aqdas and tablets by Baha'u'llah revealed after the Aqdas. Mystical writing, we have 7 valleys and 4 valleys. Tablets has to do with the government, like the proclamation to the kings. Tablet dealing with the subject of learning and knowledge, divine philosophies, mysteries of creation, medicine, alchemy, and you will find some of these in gleanings. Tablets exhorting men to education and goodly character. You find tablet of wisdom. And tablets dealing with social teachings, like the tablets revealed by Baha'u'llah after the Kitab-i-Aqdas. Would this make sense? Yes? Does it make sense? Okay. So I meant to ask you, just want you to keep this 9 modes. What year are we in? What year, what Baha'i year are we in?
Is it 178 Bahá'í?
Yeah, 178. And what did you say, Peter, after that?
Bahá'í or Badi.
Yeah, you know, it's actually, as you said. What did you say, John?
We're in the month of Might, the year 179 BDE.
Oh.
Badi. 179 Badi.
Yeah.
And
So, you
the
know,
day today is beauty, the day of the week.
yes. So it is really, thank you, Peter, and thank you, John. It is Badi' era. It is not Baha'i era. It is Badi' era. And Badi', it means immaculate. It means perfection. And this actually started before the revelation of the Bab. So the Bab revealed in 1844. The Badi' calendar was set in March 20th, 1844. So please remember, it's not the Baha'i era, it's Badi' era, because the dispensation and the history for this period started in March 1844, and it will go as long as God wanted to go. So let us see what we put here. So this is the Badi' era, you know? So please remember, it means wondrous, it means unique, it means immaculate. And this Badi' calendar was put to us by His Holiness the Bab. And the Bab was re-revealing, and this is a very important word, re-revealing the calendar from the Imam Ja'far Sadiq, and this is one of the luminous, he's the fifth Imam. So the reality of theology and religion does not stop. It's continuation of the truth. It goes from one generation to the other. The importance of setting the tone about the Badi' era, that whatever the Bab came up with, Baha'u'llah accepted most of them, modified some of them out of his mercy, and nullified some of them out of his kindness. And we will explore some of this. But please remember that Baha'u'llah did not abrogate the religion of the Bab. It is not abrogated. It is continuation, taking it to the next level, or as Azada usually says, cracks the door open for higher reality. So last time, Lisa and I, all of us, Lisa was talking about how did that verse that every city has to have local house of justice, how did we push this, our understanding, to say this is the basis of pioneering? And Sri made a comment about this. We are going to talk again about this today. So hence, this revelation is continuation of what came through the Bab, and this note happened last time. Baha'u'llah confirmed 41 laws from the Bayan to the Aqdas. So Baha'u'llah confirmed and accepted and continued 41 laws from the Bayan to the Aqdas. So he didn't really take it from the Bayan and said, now this is mine. It's continuation of the truth, continuation of the revelation. And I know, because the Bayan is in Arabic as in Persian, two different books. The Persian is the weighty one, is the biggest one. The Arabic is smaller one. It's a little bit, no, it's not translated, and it's harder to go to the original to read it. But just to give you an idea, so this is some of the laws. Would somebody can start reading us maybe the 15 laws quickly?
Sure.
Fasting,
Go.
Nowruz, Allah apart, 95 times a day. Inheritance, writing a will. House for pilgrimage, point of adoration. Dowry, burying the dead in coffins. Does somebody else like to carry on?
Keep going.
Okay. Wrapping the dead in 5 cloths. Obligatory prayer for the dead. Forbidding congregational prayer except when reading the obligatory prayer for the dead. Ukula. Daily reciting of the sacred writings. Forbidding the use of pulpits for the delivery of sermons and the reading of the text.
Oh, more.
41. So please continue. Somebody else can take it up.
I'll read.
Thank you.
16. Lisa Palmer, hello. Aloha, everyone.
Allah, Halisa.
Number 16, permitting the usage of a chair placed upon a dais to deliver the words of God, forbidding carrying weapons unless necessary, permitting wearing silk and the usage of gold and silver dishes, permitting the usage of gold and silver dishes, forbidding confession sins to other people. Gaining absolution is through the threshold of God. Having occupation and profession. Forbidding begging and giving money to beggars. Year of patience. Forbidding weighing the book of God with human standards. I know you're going to tap on that. Forbidding the consumption of alcohol, alcoholic beverages and such, forbidding the consumption of opium. Someone else?
Forbidding the entrance of someone's house without their permission, forbidding animal abuse, fixing the mithqol at 10
Nukhud.
mithqals, 19-day feast even with water, forbidding upsetting others, semen is clean, bone and hair does not nullify the prayer, forbidding crying and wailing after the death of a family member, permission for earning interest on money, order to get married, paring the nails, usage of perfume, missing an obligatory prayer, renewal of furniture every 19 years.
Thank you. Questions? Riaz, how are you?
Good, thank you very much. Could you please quickly, I'm sorry I was late, the difference, you mentioned there was a difference between the Baha'i era and the Baha'i calendar. Could you quickly review that?
Sure, thank you for asking. There is no such thing like Baha'i era. There is no Baha'i era. We took the BE and we are accustomed to say Baha'i, but actually it's called Badi'a era. There is no Baha'i era because the Baha'i era and the Babi era started in March 20th in 1844. So this is the Immaculate era, which will take us from then until God decides on something different for the next manifestation or the next cycle. As I understand it, 500,000 years, more or less, whatever Baha'u'llah and God decide. So it is Badi'a era.
So what about the terminology, the Baha'i cycle?
Well, the Baha'i cycle, actually, it is...
500,000 years, yes.
No, actually, the Baha'i cycle is much longer than that. But under the cycle, we will have few epochs, which the House of Justice is talking to us about it, closing an epoch and opening an epoch, and few things happening. So for you, it is Dahr and Zaman and Sarmad. So this is within the cycle. Would this make sense?
Oh, yes, but the term Baha'i cycle, is that a valid designation or not?
I think the Baha'i cycle is as long as Baha'u'llah is the manifestation until the next manifestation comes. I don't know what's going to be called. Is it going to be called Baha'i cycle or something else? So we don't know until the House of Justice or the next manifestation will tell us. So it has a beginning, but it doesn't have an end yet. Thank you. So I want to mention actually why Baha'u'llah is taking these laws and reinstituting it. This is 41 laws. Baha'u'llah came up with other laws also, but this is the bulk. Why did Baha'u'llah take this and reinstituted this? Said this continue, whether modified or out of his mercy or nullified out of his kindness.
Was it maybe
Oh, John.
because?
Sorry, Peter. John raised his hand. I didn't see it. Go ahead, John.
Okay.
Well, I just want to know what this means. This is the new translation, Days of Remembrance.
Yes, sir.
And Days of Remembrance, what does this mean? As the Baha'i era, this is from Baha'u'llah's writing, as the Baha'i era was inaugurated by the twin founders, the Baha'i holy days include, and then it goes on and says, his prophetic mission during the period of 12 days, 3 of which are observed as holy days, and the declaration of the Bab, the event that initiates the Baha'i era. So
Yeah.
what does that mean in Days of Remembrance?
I don't know the translation really. Maybe we can look at it. But
Universal
it is-
House of Justice just published this book.
yeah, yeah. I
So
don't know. We
they
can.
translated Days of Remembrance. It's
Yeah.
it's
We can look at it, John, sometime.
this
But-
book.
Sure, I have the book. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. We can look at it, but still it's called the Badi' era, even if the translation in English is different. It doesn't make it wrong. It make it Badi' era. That's what's called. But thank you for bringing this up. I think, Peter,
How do you raise your hand?
can I
Excuse
get
me?
Peter
Yeah.
first, Lisa?
How do you raise your hand?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Uh,
asking on general computers. John, how do you raise your hand?
Hi
Yeah.
there. So I'll clarify. If you click on your profile, and this is for everybody that's joining us on Zoom, please. If you click on your profile, there's the option where you can hit more. That option that says more, it's a drop-down menu. When you click on that, it will allow you to see what is going on with your profile. But another thing is for raising your hand. Let me try to do that here. Hold on.
John, it's actually under the reactions tab. They've moved it to that.
Yeah,
So if you click on the reactions tab,
Do you
And then
see me
hit
raise my
raise hand.
hand?
Yeah.
You see my raised hand?
Mhm.
Okay, so the tab, if you see where you can mute your video, you can stop your video. You see that?
Yes, I see
Okay.
arrows.
Now there's a reactions tab that Jeremiah referred to. The reactions tab has a smiley face with a plus sign on the top right. Those of you watching the recording, this is probably outdated by now. But the point is, at the time of the recording, this is how it's at the moment, what we're seeing. So the reactions tab, you see that? If you click on the reactions tab, you're able to click on it, and there's clapping your hands, thumbs up, heart, a lot of different reactions. One of which includes the words "raise hand" with literally a 5-finger hand next to
Yeah.
it.
I'm sorry.
It's
I
a-
don't-
So that's how people can raise their hands.
It's
But
Okay.
Thank you, John. Can I go to Peter now? Go ahead, Peter.
yes, please.
Yeah, it's just a thought what occurred to me was the laws which were Baha'u'llah carried on from the Bab, because of the twin manifestations of God, it connects the two religions together. It's just a thought.
The beautiful thought. Other thoughts? Okay.
I
I thought
didn't
it was
hear
for
the last
sake of
one. I
continuity.
didn't. I was thrown off by everything. Can
What is it,
we
John?
do a reframing of what we just spoke about before we move on? What did we just talk about?
Yes, we talked about why did Baha'u'llah keep those core laws?
And we're talking about the carryover from the Bayan to the Aqdas, the laws that were they were not abrogated, correct?
Well, John, I avoided on purpose using carry over because this is, I said, reinstituted or
Okay.
kept. So they are not carry over and left over. It's
So
the same
kept.
one dispensation, and it's continuation. And
So an appropriate way to describe it would be that the law of God has remained so and has remained unchanged.
and confirmed, got confirmed. Some of it changed out of his mercy. like the inheritance, something. But the reason for the Bab coming with all this structure, because the Bab came with the complete administrative order. He came with the institution of the land, the institution of the elected. He came with complete divine institutions. If you will go to maybe paragraph 142 in the Aqdas, and let's read what paragraph 142 is saying. I'm going to put it in the screen. Can you see this one?
Yes, I can. I'll
Would
read.
you read it for us,
Verily-
please?
Yes, verily, he revealed certain laws so that in this dispensation, the pen of the Most High might have no need to move in aught but the glorification of his own transcendent station and his most effulgent beauty. Since, however, we have wished to evidence our bounty unto you, we have, through the power of truth, set forth these laws with clarity and mitigated what we desire you to observe. He verily is the munificent, the generous.
Thank you. So Baha'u'llah in the Aqdas, paragraph 142, he's saying, the Bab came to set the whole stage for me. And me, I came to take everybody to the next level of reality. So Baha'u'llah really, out of his bounty, as he pointed out, he went back again and modified laws and added laws and things like this, of this nature. But he said, we came to take you to the next level of understanding God and glorifying God and loving God, the next level of our spirituality. So that's very important to know, part of the relationship between the two manifestations of God. Are we good with this? Okay.
So to clarify, there's also edits to what we find in Aqdas. For example, the genuflections. I believe it was 9 genuflections. It was reduced after the Aqdas was provided to us. And for the long obligatory prayer, for example, the movements, the genuflections that we had to do, it was reduced.
Well, yes, but actually the original revelation for this one that Baha'u'llah is talking about is his own revelation. He revealed for that we pray for or genuflexes 9 times, and this got lost to posterity. So this one in particular, he's talking about the law that he pushed out, not from the Bab.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, Azam.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask Jeremiah to clarify his question. I might have misheard. Did you say that in the English translation, the genuflections were reduced? John, sorry.
Not in the English, but in the Aqdas, there's
Okay.
the original prescription for genuflections that were to
Yes.
perform, but it was
Okay.
modified in the obligatory prayer that we actually read and are performing. And
Okay.
I was asking about not that particular example as much as the overarching theme of
Yes.
Baha'u'llah within his own revelation, even modifying the laws he brought us.
Yeah. And I probably Nabil will talk about this at some point. Modifying is great, but also it's a re-revealing his own revelation. We can look at it that way versus modifying. Just a thought. We can talk about it. But thank you for clarifying what you stated earlier.
And as a matter of respect to the writings, re-revealing, we would use that in a more respectful way than the other words that I used.
Right.
So when we say re-revealing, we're literally talking about, if we could explain it, I'm asking in other words as well. And please, this is for learning, so we can, I guess, use respectful words.
Yes.
The laws that are re-revealed supersede the laws that were revealed before that may be considered in conflict, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Azam.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so the writings of Baha'u'llah, where he's revealed new laws, and where those laws cover the same subject, where those new laws preempt what was provided prior, it's re-revealed and it
Yes.
supersedes.
Correct.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure vocabulary was respectful.
Yes,
and
me too.
Those
Me too.
listening,
Yeah.
learn as well
Me too.
about the respect that we use towards the revelation of
Yes,
Baha'u'llah. I
exactly.
appreciate it.
Exactly.
you.
Thank you so much.
So since you brought this up, I'm going to dwell on it for a second or two. The concept of re-revealing, you can see it a lot in the Iqan. When Baha'u'llah bringing something from the Quran, and I know there is a translation issue between the Arabic and the English, like what John raised about the translation saying Bahá'í era, but the original saying Badi' era, you know, the Immaculate Era. So there is the translation. However, in the original, in the Iqan, when we pursued some of the verses that Baha'u'llah mentioned in the Aqdas, many of them or few of them are different from the original Arabic in the Quran. Because Baha'u'llah said it, it is the correct usage, is the correct phrase. Hence, he is re-revealing the previous dispensation. And he re-revealed things from the Injil, which is the New Testament, and more from the Quran. So this is the concept of re-revealing. So he is not quoting the Prophet Muhammad. He's not quoting Jesus Christ. He is re-revealing the original word through aspiration from God, through the revelation. So with this said, John, the first session, when I asked about, somebody mentioned the book of laws, and John said, well, it's the book of, what did you say, John? Loving kindness? Mr. Harkness. So last time we were talking and somebody mentioned the book of law and you said, but it's also the book of loving kindness. You remember, you could recall something like that?
I remember choice sealed wine.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect. I love this. So this is actually how Baha'u'llah described his book. So we refer to the Aqdas as the book of laws. Baha'u'llah, within the Aqdas itself, not outside of the Aqdas, within the Aqdas, he called it Book of Loving Providence, paragraph 25, 75, and 117. He mentioned, as John said, Book of the Choice Wine, paragraph 5. Book of 5, Book of God, wondrous book, exalted book, mother book, lucid book, book of my revelation, book of life, lamp of the eternal unto the world. How beautiful this is. We quickly go and say, well, this is the book of laws. And when you tell me about the book of laws, now I am hearing somebody's telling me do this and don't do this. But how about a book of choice wine? How about book of loving kindness? How about the lucid book? How about a book of life, that this is a book that you use to lead your life? How about book of God? You know, one of the things that we, as I understand it from the messages of the House of Justice coming, we need to redefine the meaning of the word religion for the people. Because when you talk to the people who doesn't know the faith or friends of the faith, and you say religion, they come and say, oh, no, you are scaring me. I don't want religion. I don't want structured religion. I don't want somebody to tell me do and don't do. You are scaring me. Go away from me. But because this is the understanding of religion for the past 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years. Today, we have to redefine religion for the people to understand that while the Baha'i faith is a religion, but there is a new definition of religion. Now it's built, as Azada pointed out before, every religion, the understanding, not the core of the religion, the understanding of the people, that it's built on greed, because if I will do good, I will go to heaven, I will eat well, I will drink water, I will eat mango because Nabil loves mango, you know. And if I would do bad, I will go to terrible place in which so hot that my brains will boil. And now this is the fear. Versus Baha'u'llah coming for after 5,000 years, coming and say, observe my commandments for the love of my beauty. Not for fear, not for greed, it's for love. So this is part of redefining religion, so the people understand where are we coming from. Okay, are we good? So, would someone read us this, please? This is the opening of the Aqdas.
In the name of him who is the supreme ruler over all that hath been and all that is to be.
In the name of him who is the supreme ruler over all that had been and all that's to be. Thank you, Lisa. So what does the opening say? Why do we have some tablets with an opening? Why do we have some prayers with opening? Not a title that we gave it, you know. Why do we have something like the Aqdas with the opening or the Iqan?
May I offer a supposition?
Please, please,
sorry,
please.
I can't find the raised hand thing.
Please, that's okay.
I think in one way it's a clarification of that which came before, and speaking for all, once again, in the name of all that has become before and all that will come after. It puts you in a frame of mind.
Yeah.
It puts you in, it wants you in a perhaps in a perspective, to give you a perspective within which to try and grasp the meaning of what is within.
I love this. Reaction? Lovely. Great, Lisa. Gilbert Hakim, can you help me here? Andy? Okay, so in this statement, Baha'u'llah, in the name of him who is the supreme ruler over all had been, Baha'u'llah is demonstrating the sovereignty of God here in this statement. Baha'u'llah is declaring his belief in God and his station. Actually, also Baha'u'llah, if you will push our understanding more, Baha'u'llah here is pronouncing the following levels and staging. He's saying, I know God, I recognize God, I love God, and I obey God. You see, when we examine our understanding and we examine the writings, Baha'u'llah is talking about knowledge, recognition, loving, and obeying. Every time we read this, we are doing the same. We are declaring our knowledge of God, recognizing him, loving him, and obeying God. So this is some of the ways that we have to continue pushing our understanding of the writings. Would you read us part of the first duty? Can someone read us the first duty, please?
I can.
Please, thank you.
The first duty prescribed by God for his servants is the recognition of him who is the dayspring of his revelation and the fountain of his laws, who representeth the Godhead in both the kingdom of his cause and the world of creation. Whoso achieveth this duty hath attained unto all good, and whoso is deprived thereof hath gone astray, though he be the author of every righteous deed. It behooveth everyone who reacheth this most sublime station, this summit of transcendent glory, to observe every ordinance of him who is the desire of the world. These twin duties are inseparable, neither is acceptable without the other. Thus had that been decreed by him who is the source of divine inspiration.
Thank you. Reactions, please.
Well, it seems like where it says whoso is deprived of the bounty.
You want me to get it on the screen? Sorry, Sari.
Yeah.
You want me to bring it back on the screen, or do you have your book?
Yes, if you can.
Of course, of course. Thank you.
Let's see. Yeah, who has attained all good, and whosoever is deprived thereof hath gone astray, though he be the author of every righteous deed. It almost seems like it's a choice of God for us to recognize him or not, rather than our choice of recognition. Am I reading that wrong?
It's a reaction. I'm sure this is good understanding. I think Peter has his hand up also. I'm sorry, I cannot see the screen and the people.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Peter.
Yes. It's the first duty prescribed by God for the servants is to recognize of him as the dayspring of his revelation and the fountain of his laws. So we have to recognize both the laws and follow the laws and abide by the laws.
Okay. Other reaction? So I'm going to share something with you.
I do, because I found
Okay,
my
please go.
hand.
Please go ahead. Good, good.
If I may. And I need one because I've only got one left. Would you kindly put the writing back up?
Gladly.
I think the lovely lady from Sacramento, she captured a lot of this, but I have this concern because of the country I live in, which is very non-God believing, non-religious believing, religion believing, very spiritual, a lot of folks, but when it comes to laws and rules, ixnay. However, is there, if I may ask, I'm asking, is there a grace? Because regardless of the fact that of these things, these laws that are not being obeyed in the sense that we are, there is an incredible amount of loving service and action on behalf of mankind, of your community, of your neighbor, just out of the goodness of your heart, like the golden rules. So is there a grace from God? Because this is not, it may be recognized and simply eschewed, or is there a grace for those who may not follow the rules as we understand them, but still more comes forth than perhaps from those who, quote unquote, believe in God and the rules, but these folks are action oriented, are actually doing the service. Do you have a thought on that?
Yeah. Any reaction? And we will come to Riaz and Gilbert in a second. Any reaction to what Lisa's saying?
This is Gilbert. I can answer that when it's my turn to talk, because the question, Baha'i religion is an outcome-based religion. It's not action-based religion. It means that if I pray to God 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, I'm not going to go to heaven because I perform that action. We'll discuss that later.
Yeah, thank you, Gilbert. So, Azada, can you answer this, please? Or may you answer this? Lisa?
I will try. I will try. Well, see, my point of reference is, of course, the Aqdas and the rest of the writings within the Baha'i faith, which Baha'u'llah says to know and to obey. So it comes together, and knowing him comes first, which is based on the independent investigation of truth for those who have not yet found Baha'u'llah. And that's a very personal journey, of course, each one takes. In terms of what you said, Lisa, all of the organizations which as Baha'is we are tied into, one way or another, help with nonprofit organizations, whether it's Doctors Without Borders or anything that happens. Of course, God in the Baha'i faith is all about mercy and love. So that, I think, for me, as we look at the writings of Baha'u'llah as a whole, not very specific verses, but as a whole, his mercy is upon them unless because sometimes you would see, as you work as volunteers with some of these organizations, it is little, I don't know what to call it, it's not a spark, but a sign of ego in what happens, because we all have that ego. So that undermines the profound sense of providing service through the revelation of Baha'u'llah. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly or not, but once you turn to your love for Baha'u'llah and for God, then your ego disappears on whatever you do. You're not doing it because you feel good that you're serving humanity. You see, am I explaining that with clarity or not? Not yet. You're doing it totally for the sake of the love of God. You don't put your head on the pillow at night and said, oh, I served humanity today, and then sleep.
I hear you.
Yes.
What I was referencing is that irrespective of that a lot of what I witnessed of behavior, individual behavior from people who do not believe in God or religion or royalty or whatever, they simply do it because it's the right thing to do. For example, I live in an area that gets flooded a lot, and people just come together as if it were, like World War II, which hit Great Britain badly. And people just come together and pick up whatever they need to and just help their neighbor. They just help their neighbor, their community, it's just part of the golden rule.
I see.
So may I assume that mercy and grace is still there, even if whether you've been made aware of the presence of Baha'u'llah or not?
So Lisa, let me try to answer this so I can move a little bit. We are supposed to cover 100 paragraphs. We are still in paragraph 1. So, so please forgive me. So yes, the Aqdas itself in paragraph 59, for example, it talks about consider the mercy of God and his gifts. He always, paragraph 59, this is one of many. It talks about the mercy of God. It talks about justice, but also his mercy in this word. The next word is very structured. We mentioned this last time, but we'll talk more about it as we move forward. Okay. And it talks about consider his mercy and his love, and this will help a lot, So yes, and Abdul Baha talked a lot about the mercy, and I think all of us Doesn't matter how strong our faith is, how good we are just hopeful in God's mercy. So, yes. Riaz, go ahead. Thank you, Lisa. You want to lower your hand? Thank you.
Okay. What about Gilbert? Gilbert is before me.
Yeah, he started talking, and then so Riaz, and then I will come back again to Gilbert.
All right.
Thank you.
About paragraph 0, K0, the opening salutations.
Yes, sir.
I think that's now that we in paragraph 1 we are talking about the recognition of the manifestation. We should shed light on 0, K0. I think the importance of that opening salutation is to establish once and for all the existence of God, which is provides the fundamental platform for everything. What I'm trying to say is often we don't mention God, and God himself is still a question in people's minds. The belief in God is a crucial, and it's the first and most fundamental point of departure. Everything else depends on faith in God. And I say faith because I hear people saying science does not negate God, but cannot prove God, but does not negate God. So there is this ambivalence. Is God real? Does it exist? Etc. But here Baha'u'llah opens everything based on this this presumption. How can I say? The opening platform. It's a platform on which everything else lives. He wants to make sure that our point of departure is God, and everything else flows from it. Very quickly, I hear in many Baha'i talks, the majority of Baha'i talks open with Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, and they go on. There's no mention of God. They omit that Baha'u'llah is a manifestation of God. For example, in Christianity, once they say Jesus, they say the Son of God. In Christianity, they're very clear and assertive that Jesus is the Son of God. So there's a connection. And in Islam, the friend of God, Muhammad is referred as the friend of God. So there's always, in the established religions, God is always mentioned and asserted with full confidence. But we have fallen into this habit of not even mentioning God. We say the vision of Baha'u'llah is this, or Baha'u'llah is the founder, or at the most the prophet founder. But we leave out God. This is the departure point. Without God, there's nothing.
You're right, Riaz. Thank you. Gilbert, your hand is up. Do you want to continue what you would try to say? Okay, so it was mentioned early on, before I continue very quickly. It was mentioned early.
Muted me.
My apology. Go ahead, Gilbert, please.
That's okay. The question really was basically, what is the purpose of Baha'i religion and purpose of God on earth? The purpose of God on earth, application of unity of mankind, unity of religion, unity of language, unity of economic system, unity of political systems, elimination of poverty, and so on and so forth. Where does this come from? It comes from revelation, which is Holy Spirit, laws that brought in, and we Baha'is believe that only through execution of Holy Spirit, or synonymous to Baha'i laws, we can achieve the goal, which is golden age of civilization. That's the premise. Now, the question right now, it goes back to how do we achieve this? Can we achieve this by random kindness of people that do not believe in this doctrine that we're proposing? Can they help it? Or, by the way, this notion is foretold by Jesus as well, that we're gonna basically make earth as is in heaven. So the question really goes back, when as an individual we do good things in our own mind, that may have a actually negative impact in the outcome, as Western society did during 70s and 80s, and sent tractors and a lot of grain to alleviate African famines. And what they did, they completely destroyed their economic system. And they made them dependent on the handouts. So the question is that notion of doing good, it may satisfy our own need in terms of being good, but it may actually cause harm, as it did. Now, the second question comes back of when we do philanthropic stuff, the notion of the credit comes to the individual. When someone like Rockefeller starts creating libraries, or creating, let's say, helping society to improve itself, the credit goes to that individual. When the individual dies, all what he did goes away. When you're doing the work in the name of Baha'i religion, it reinforces the plan, the master plan, which is unity of mankind. So the question is that people that are very pious and they're good, but they don't believe in Baha'i religion, it doesn't mean that they're bad people. But the problem is they're not contributing to the ultimate goal of unity of mankind. And that's really what the contrast is. To give you an indication, during Muhammad's time, new believers, they came and said, look, our parents are pious, they help everybody, they help poor. What happens to them because they're not becoming Muslim? And Muhammad told them they're gonna go to hell. It just anecdotally, I'm presenting this so you understand the issue is not basically lessening the pain of humanity. The issue is curing it. If I go and spread dollars or services to help people to have less pain, I haven't solved the problem. The problem is unity of mankind.
Thank you, Gilbert. I have to try to come back again to the text. This is very valuable, but I need to really continue moving forward. I think all of us, we are in the same page with you. So, but let us continue a little bit. So, what's the first duty described by God for his servants? Can somebody read us this, please?
What is the first duty prescribed by God for his servants? The recognition of him who is the dayspring of his revelation and the fountain of his laws, who representeth the Godhead in both the kingdom of his cause and the world of creation.
Excellent. And what's the twin station of the manifestation of God?
Representeth the Godhead in both the kingdom and his cause and the world of creation.
Excellent. So who's the dayspring of his revelation?
Allah.
Allah.
Very good. Today, it's Baha'u'llah. Charlotte, you have your hand raised. Thank you. Would you like to try again with the voice on? We will hear you better if the voice is on.
Mute. Okay, here we are.
Thank
Good.
you.
Okay, no, I was going to read and it was taken over, so I was just listening.
Oh, okay.
You're doing well. It's wonderful.
Okay. Would you like to?
Reaction.
Would you like to read us this one, please? I'm trying to move swiftly through the paragraphs. My commandments.
My commandments are the lamps of my loving providence among my servants and the keys of my mercy for my creatures.
So this goes back again. Thank you. This goes back again to what Lisa's asking. The commandments of my loving providence. And you know what, Lisa? The reality is when the command gets revealed and put out, impacts the whole humanity. Whether you are a Baha'i or a pre-Baha'i, whether you believe in God or you don't, whether your faith has the label of Baha'i or Babi or Muslim or Christian or a Jew or any other thing, when the revelation comes, it impacts the whole humanity, whether we like it or no, whether we feel it or no. So here, Baha'u'llah is talking about his loving providence. So, we talked about, I'm trying to go to observe my commandments for the love of my beauty. We talked about this. Okay, so let's talk about fasting, paragraph 10. Paragraph 10 talks about fasting. And we know, what do we fast or how do we fast? How do we fast?
Sunrise to sunset.
Yeah, 19 days. Yeah, one Baha'i month. Yeah. What else?
Well, why? All right. Are you going to get to the why? How do we fast? We don't.
No, not really. Not
Okay.
really, because there is a lot of writings about the why. I'm just trying to cover what's in the book as much as possible, you know?
How do we fast? We don't eat from sunrise to sunset.
Sunrise to sunset, yes.
Eat or drink.
We start when, how old are we? When we are 15? Okay, till old age, and old age, the House of Justice
70.
did that, I think 70 or 72, something like that. Okay.
70.
Any other thoughts? Okay, so let me talk to you a little bit about fasting in Islam. Fasting in Islam starts much earlier. Fasting of Islam, it is from 15 till old age, and there is no definition for old age. You know, so till you're 80, till you're whatever, you know, so this is left to the conscience of the Muslim believer. And it is from sunrise till sunset, and it's in Ramadan, the month of Ramadan, which is 29 days or 30 days, because it's lunar calendar, and it shifts 11 days a year because it comes repeated, you know, so some years they can fast in January and fast in November at the same Gregorian year. So fasting in the Babi faith, and I'm just trying to share with you a little bit about the core of the laws of God and in the Aqdas. Do we know about fasting in the Babi faith?
Yes.
Yeah, it's also sunrise till sunset. Do we know what's the age?
I believe. I'm sorry.
Yes, please go ahead.
We all need to pick up the pace here for our facilitators, because they want to cover more and everyone's reticent to speak, and I speak too much. So it's 15 to 70, the age of maturity, and I believe the age of 70 has been put on the end, unless you feel otherwise, to feel well enough to continue.
So Lisa, I was talking actually about the Bahá'í faith.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fasting in the Bahá'í faith.
Excuse me, I don't know.
Okay, do we know? Okay, it is actually 11 years old until you are 42 years old. After 42, you stop fasting and you don't fast before 11. And this is very interesting, you know, because there is a relationship between spirituality, higher reality, and between our daily life here. When I say up and down, as I shared with you, there is no up and down. I'm just using this in human terms, you know. So in the Bahá'í faith, Baha'u'llah revealed in numerical values. And the numerical value of 11, it says he, it means Hoa. 42, it means yes. So the fast between 11 till 42, it's indicating in higher reality that he, whom God shall make manifest, I say yes. So your fasting during the Bahá'í faith is dedicated to whom God shall make manifest. So this is the significance of 11 years till 42 years old. 11 years is he, and or 11 is he, 42 is yes. So it's basically saying when the new manifestation comes, you say yes. You don't hesitate, you don't vacillate, you don't think about it, you wholeheartedly, you go through whom God shall make manifest. So I just wanted to share with you, because it's interesting here, historical ground or spiritual ground. Paragraph 11 talk about prayer of the signs. Can Azada, would you read us this, please? Hey, Rona.
Dominion is God's, the Lord of the seen and the unseen, the Lord of creation.
And this prayer giving to us in the Aqdas by Baha'u'llah to read when something drastic happens like earthquake or tornado or something causing fear or something to soothe our heart to mention. So this is very beautiful prayer, simple prayer to read. Okay, paragraph 14. We are making progress here. Paragraph 14 is saying that you sit cross-legged. Do you know what's cross-legged? You know,
Yes.
We do yoga and things like that, and the people do cross-legged. You know, it's very interesting. The cross-legged, again, it's a material expression of higher reality. The way you sit, it's expression of higher reality. For example, you find some people when we read prayer, we put our hands like this. You know, it's not the only way, but we choose to do this. When we sit, we stand proper when the prayer is read. You know, all of it is individual things that we do because we are comfortable in doing this. Cross-legged is very interesting one, which translated as Haykal al-Tawheed, you know, which is the temple of unity or posture of unity. And it's traditionally signified the cross-legged position. I would like to share with you something which is, this is the cross-legged, right?
Yes.
You can see this, okay? This cross-legged, if you are looking from up, if you are standing behind them, looking from the head down at the person, you will find it go to the right here, that this is the head and this is the legs. Yes?
Okay.
So this is the head. If you are standing on the top of their head or right behind them, this is the head and this is the legs. So actually this figure, your body is standing or sitting like this. It's representing the Arabic letter of unification, that you are saying no God but God. The fact that this letter, you are sitting, it's representing the term no God by God. So this is again another, for the speakers who can speak the Arabic language, it's La ilaha illallah. So this is La, you know. So there are many things we do without mentioning the name of God, you know, in which represents God. So this is just an interesting piece of history, or how is it grounded in other, in the Bahá'í faith. We talked about paragraph 15, my hidden love is the key to the, am I sharing or am I not sharing? I'm not sharing. Paragraph 15 is talking about my hidden love is the key to the treasure. And here Baha'u'llah is talking about divinity and tablet of all the food. But I'm going to move this discussion till the first 3 weeks in December, in which they are dedicated to talk about divinity. So if you have the time and you are planning to attend the first 3 Saturdays in December, other than we are going to talk about divinity. So I'm going to shift this part to December. Here, paragraph 16 talks about Ayyam-i-Ha and Naruz. How do you celebrate Ayyam-i-Ha? How do you celebrate Ayyam-i-Ha?
With acts of service.
Acts of service. Beautiful. Simone, do you have something to share with me? Can you help me? Hushang, can you help me? Simone and Hushang don't want to help me.
Sir, was the guardian born on the last day of Ayyam-i-Ha? Because there is named John Taylor. He wrote about novelty of Ayyam-i-Ha in the Bahá'í calendar.
Yes.
And we didn't celebrate. We don't really know, because I think he was born on March 1st, 1897. Now that date hit me because my Aunt Betty was born on March 1st. But I'm wondering, these days are considered very significant, but the closest thing I've seen to Ayyam-i-Ha are the Gathas in Zoroastrianism. So I think about the days of God and the days of Ha. Since,
that's great.
We were talking about daybreak and day spring. Now I think Ramadan starts at the crack of dawn when you first see the light of the sun. Well, we celebrate it from sunup to sunset. So I could say there might be a Mithraic aspect to it, because I remember reading about Roman Mithraisms, that Mithra slaying the bull is at the sun at midday, but Caudes and Caudipades represent the rising and setting sun. But there is a man who said Jesus Christ is the Urim-Mazda's son, because when he said, I'm the way, the truth, and the life, he corresponds with what they call the Supreme Triad in Zoroastrianism. It's volume Ashavis, Spenemaneo. But I think it's there's what they call the kenotic nature of Christ. The help out, and in that case, he became a servant. So in a way, I believe that paves the way for what Muhammad said. That the
Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive me for interruption. I want to focus particularly how to celebrate Ayyam-i-Ha. Just focus on this so we can continue moving. But what you are saying is valuable. How else do we celebrate it?
Small gifts.
Small gifts. Okay, this is good. Let us see what Baha'u'llah told us how to be celebrated. The small gifts and big gifts and Christmas cards and all of this is good. But Baha'u'llah give us a particular mandate, you know, that we need to adhere to. Can somebody read us this, please? It behooveth the people of Baha.
It behooveth the people of Baha throughout these days to provide good cheer for themselves, their kindred, and beyond them the poor and needy, and with joy and exultation to hail and glorify their Lord, to sing his praise and magnify his name.
Beautiful, Lisa. So after the small gifts, the most important part is for Ayyam-i-Ha to, with joy and exaltation, hail and glorify our Lord. We sing his praise and magnify his name. So now this is the prayers. This is the meditation. This is the searching of your heart. You know, of course, we talked about the act of service and providing share to the poor and the needy. Yeah, it's given. But it's very important to do things for ourselves also, which is remembering about God. Okay, we are making good progress. How many obligatory
I have my
prayers?
hand up.
My
Everyone.
apology. Okay, who has the hand up?
Azadeh.
Azadeh, you can talk anytime. You don't have to raise your hand.
I just wanted to if I may, touch upon the fact, actually, it's a fact of our life, that how in particular, when it comes to Ayyam-i-Ha, we gravitate toward what are the traditions in the country we live. In the United States, it's the act of gift giving, which is not what Baha'u'llah tells us to do here in the Kitab-i-Aqdas. And as you travel throughout the world, you see that this changes basically a bit depending on where we live, because we are so attached to what is the tradition of our society versus what the Kitab-i-Aqdas says. Just a thought.
Would you offer an example, please?
Like in Iran, where I was born and I grew up, nobody gives gifts because it's not outside of Nowruz, which your grandparents give you a gold coin if you're rich, or, you know, make you some cookie or baklava. It's not part of the Persian culture. So in Ayyam-i-Ha, there is no gift giving. There's acts of service. You go to the poor neighborhoods. You do something for the poor, which maybe you don't do the rest of the year, but at least during Ayyam-i-Ha. It's just one example. I have no idea, for example, in the continent of Africa, how is it done, which is totally different cultures, each country, when you go there. So just a thought.
Thank you. How many obligatory prayers we have in the faith? Oh, Charlotte, you are saying something, but I can't see you. 3? I can't see. 3, okay. What are they?
The long obligatory prayer
Long obligatory prayer.
and the medium obligatory
Medium.
prayer and the short one. The short one is
Short.
at noon, and the medium is in any morning, noon, and evening after
That's true.
sunset. And the long obligatory prayer is any time in the 24 hours.
Excellent.
Mhm.
Thank you. That's
No.
it?
Mm-hmm.
Going once, going twice, going thrice? What else?
I think that's all. Yeah.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Okay.
I
you're
need
welcome.
one more.
Oh,
One more. Obligatory prayer.
Ablutions.
Ablution is before the prayer. You're right. You're right. Before the medium prayer, and ablution before another obligatory prayer.
The 95 Allah
Thank you. Yeah, 95 times every day. You conduct your ablution, and we say 95 times the Allah Akbar. 4. Awesome, Lisa. One more.
Isn't there something you can say if you have not been able to say your obligatory prayer?
Yeah, Baha'u'llah talked about this in the questions and answer. They said if it's gone, it is gone, but he gave us provision to say something in case if there is danger or you missed it because there is danger for your life or something. But actually, if it's gone, it is gone. So one more obligatory prayer. Andy, yes, please.
The prayer for the dead.
Thank you. Prayer for the dead. So this is what we have. 5 obligatory prayer. 3 from Charlotte. Well, all of them are from Baha'u'llah. But 3 from Charlotte, 1 from Lisa, one from Andy. Okay? Short, medium, large, 95 times. Allah Abha every day, and the prayer for the deceased, for the departed. Very good. Very good. So this actually was the bulk of paragraph 18, that every day we say this. We mentioned that this is part of the 41 laws came from the Bab that Baha'u'llah agreed and said, please continue. Well, he didn't say please, he said continue. During the Bab, actually, every day of the month, you say 95 times different invocation. Baha'u'llah said, every day you say Allah Abha. During the Bab, it was the first day you say Allah Azam 95 times. All of them means God the most great, and then the next day you say Allah Abha, the next day Allahu Azam, the next day you say Allah Azhar, the other day you say Allahu Anwar, the other day you say Allahu Akbar, and so forth. So the Bab gave us 19 invocations that every day you say one of them 95 times. Okay, so Baha'u'llah, out of his mercy again, he said, okay, instead of you remembering all of this and forgetting and scrambling, trying to figure which is which, so we do Allah Abha 95 times. Now we have 2 minutes. Let's talk about the inheritance. Baha'u'llah said the inheritance for us. And the inheritance, he said 7 categories: children, spouse, father, mother, brother, sister, and teacher, which is amazing. I think teacher was mentioned the first time we talked about. And he said in the Revelation, and this also came from the Bab, the division of the inheritance, which is revelation versus me having will or trust or something. This is the revelation. This is the word of God. The first thing comes after I depart is the expenses for the funeral and the burial, because I should be buried, and then my debts to be paid, and then huquq Allah, the last payment, and then what's left is the inheritance, which get divided into these 7 categories according what Baha'u'llah said. So it's 1 share, 1 share, 1 share. Children gets 2 shares. Spouse, father, mother, brother, sister gets 1 share. And you can read more about this. The interesting thing about the inheritance, that Baha'u'llah said, it's up to you. You can do whatever you want with your money, whatever you want in the inheritance. But please keep in mind when you are writing your will, that the will that Baha'u'llah put in the Aqdas is a divine revelation. It's a divine revelation. There is a reason why it's there, without him saying, hey, you have to do this, and he's banging on our head. But please remember that it has divine merit into it. And I will take 1 more minute just to make sure I don't leave Lisa out from last time, because she raised this issue. Paragraph 30 says, ordain institution of the House of Justice and council its members, and the Lord ordain in every city House of Justice be established. So what we were saying last time, Lisa, that every time we have 9 members and the town next to me or close by me or somewhere doesn't have a House of Justice, we need to go there to establish House of Justice. So this is what I meant, and this is what Serene was saying about the pioneering, whether home front pioneering or neighborhood pioneering or international pioneering, that the House of Justice called upon in his the latest message in May, asking for 19 localities, 19 countries, that they are asking for international pioneers. So this is, Lisa, what's meant, or what we were trying to say.
Question.
Please.
The last time you had actually said go pioneering, and I just want to, I'm not mincing words. I just want to clarify, is it as soon as you have 9, then when you have 10, you move? You keep your assembly of 9.
Yeah, well, of course.
Correct.
Yeah, of course, it's not a number game as much as.
No.
Yeah, exactly. It's start taking the faith to new era. You're right. Absolutely.
Is that practical? I
What?
mean, is it practical to just as we say, up sticks and move to the town over? I mean,
But this is the individual. This is the individual what they can. There is financial issue. There is language issue. There is timing issue. There is health issues. There are many things, and this is totally left to the individual. It's again Baha'u'llah's not saying if you're member number 10 and you live in Waterbury, if you don't move across the palace of Lady Dean and go the other side towards Albert Hall, then you are bad. He's not saying this. He's talking about the mobility, because every time the assembly gets created, new level of energy gets created in the town. Dear ones, it's 9:32, and out of 100, we covered 30. So, so we are making progress, you know, and thank that that John and company were gracious enough and allow us one more. So this is really good. Thank you for the dialogue. And I really appreciate that we are focusing in the text. And we want to expand. We can expand all the way at the end, because we need to at least to crack this door open for the Aqdas and say, this is the meaning and valuable issue. Like Lisa said, are we going to talk about the value of the fast? I said, no, this already expounded other places, but we are talking about that Baha'u'llah ordained the fast for us. And I wanted to give you the historical religious background of the age and things like that. I'll turn over to John. Thank you.
Thank you for all the good questions everyone has been asking today. And definitely there's a lot of room to learn outside of the scope of what we've spoken about. Of course, the Aqdas itself is important to refer to in this study, so we recommend you do so. Use everything that you've been learning here with the intent to learn on your own. This is just one of the many facets of starting your search, and not at all by any means an end to your search. We are hoping that all of this, the content, everything is an inspiration for you to, on your own, continue to learn the writings every day. We're told in the morning and evening in the Baha'i writings that we are to read the Word of God every morning and evening. And as Nabil pointed out, please bring your book with you and read until paragraph 100. So we want to read for the next session until paragraph 100. So as a matter of closing out for today, we have a to-do item on the list to close out. We have a to-do item, read to paragraph 100. We have another point to point out. Yes?
What is the meaning of the designation K in pointing to paragraphs? The letter K, K0, K1, K.
So there is an index.
Kitab.
It
stands for Kitab. Aqdas Kitab, you know, AQ-K. You will find it
also in the index.
Yeah,
index is also explain. In the index explains the designations as well, because the Kitab-i-Aqdas in English form is written and it compiles multiple things, including the questions and answers. So you're going to see the different designations preferring the K for the actual kitab that was just mentioned. For example, Q&A is a whole other section, which is not labeled K. And this book, as Nabil is holding up, the Kitab-i-Aqdas, that has the designations in the book, because every version is fundamentally in English going to be somewhat different depending on where you're reading from. That's why I wanted to make point clear that, for example, if you go on Ocean 2.0 or the Baha'i Reference Library, it'll be slightly different. Some places will have hyperlinks to take you directly to what's being referred to. So just for everyone who's joining us, please be aware we're talking about the physical hard copy of the Kitab-i-Aqdas that was in English, not just provided an authentic translation, but published on paper. That's what we're referring to when then the K reference is being made. With that being said, going back to closing out for today, we welcome all the questions, but we do have a stop time for today, and we welcome you all to bring these questions that we were just mentioning, beautiful ones. Let's bring them again on next week. Let's hold on to these questions until next week, please. Or in the questions can be also included in the comments of this video. We are again on the Clearwater Baha'is YouTube channel. You've also the Facebook access point, the Baha'i Center of Clearwater. It's an excellent place for those of you on Facebook to see the YouTube and vice versa. We welcome you to that. And then further, there's the references we gave you. Of course, there's oceanlibrary.com. There's reference.baha'i.org. And Jeremiah I'm very thankful to him for putting this out. He had provided the link, Baha'iBookstore.com. I'll repeat, the place to buy a physical copy of the book, Baha'iBookstore.com. But I'll throw in something else in there for you. Having spoken to representatives from the bookstore who had told me this, and it's very, very valuable to hear, if you want to support the promulgation of the Baha'i writings in physical format across the world, it's really recommended you go and shop at places like Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble bookstore, Borders, if it's still around, your local bookstore. If you go to a physical brick and mortar bookstore or through their website online, third-party website, if you go to these places, it allows the opportunity for the Baha'i writings that are otherwise not being sold if they're not purchased through them. You purchase it through them, and the Baha'i Publishing Trust it replenishes that supply that is, again, available not just to you, but to other people who want to learn more about the Baha'i faith and just didn't find the Baha'i bookstore from the Publishing Trust. We have, again, third-party sources to go and purchase these books, Amazon being one of the online retailers for a lot of people who are trying to handle the COVID situation. I feel you. Likewise, there's plenty of websites to access, third-party websites to access and purchase Baha'i literature. That being said, I've spoken way too much to close out, but it was important to be said for accessing physical books. We hope you all have a beautiful weekend. Next weekend, we will be starting part 3. That will be this is today, September 11. That will be on September 18, 2022. We will be beginning the part 3 of this course, and we welcome all of you again to return with your questions. Please read up to paragraph 100, as was mentioned prior, and we welcome again your comments as we're learning together. Thank you.